Hey, Aubrey, how's it going today?
I'm great, Lindsay. How are you?
Good, good. What are we getting into on the show today?
I have a question. Lindsay,
Okay.
what are
Yes.
you doing to build your fluency in Arabic?
That's a good question. I have not spoken Arabic in a couple of years. I had my
Oof.
trip to Cairo and had some wins actually, which were so satisfying. Negotiating with a taxi driver, and then unfortunately I didn't continue Arabic. So my ongoing through line language is Spanish. So coming back to
Yes.
Spanish, but Arabic I haven't come back to it. Aubrey, I should get back to it.
I think you are in the same position a lot of people are, whether with English
Yes.
or any language, though, where if you're learning it for a trip or for an exam, it can be
Yes.
challenging to continue building fluency and to know
Yes.
how to do it because your learning process will be different if it's sort of a crash course to travel or for an exam as opposed to learning fluency for life.
Yeah, I mean, the key becomes how do we create something that's sustainable over
Right.
kind of our lifetime? How do we say this is something I'm interested in pursuing over many years? That's a really exciting commitment. How do we make it sustainable, right?
Exactly, right? We
Yeah.
got a really good question about this that we're going to answer today. We know a lot of you listeners out there are in this boat. So we want to help you to give you advice and strategies for how you can make, English learning a lifelong journey that's enjoyable where you're building fluency in the way that will best help you connect with others.
I love it. So I'll go ahead and read the listener
All right.
question. Here we go. The student says, "Hi there. I like your podcast so much. Your energy is contagious." Well, thank you to this
Yes.
listener. That's amazing. I got a 9 for listening by religiously listening to your podcast every day. Also, I have a question for you. How to improve my English further to a native level. I already got an overall 7.5, but I feel like there's still a long way to become native like. I still can't understand some conversations, even the stuff they write online, and there aren't many courses or strategies that teach how to improve after 7. Nice question.
Yes, right. And I can totally understand where this student is. If you've been really focused on, like for this student, IELTS preparation, or maybe it was TOEFL, or maybe it was studying to go on a specific trip, you really do have to adjust how you're learning, figure out how to build fluency, or you might just give it up entirely. It's been 2 years since you spoke Arabic,
It's been
Lindsay.
2 years.
It's easy to
Aubrey.
just let
No,
it go.
3 years. It's been 3 years. Oh my
Wow.
gosh. And how fast can we lose what we've gained? It's just
Oh,
like
yeah.
working out. You know how they say it takes like 3 weeks to get in shape, but you can get out of shape in like a week?
Absolutely. I've been there.
Yep, it's the worst. So don't lose the muscle mass of the language learning, right? Love that. This is exactly what we're going to address today. But first, Aubrey, I want to call out those who took the time to leave us a rating and a review in our Android app. Are you ready for this?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, huge thank you to our listener. I can't read the Korean, but it is in Korean, and it's someone on July 18th who reviewed us 5 stars. Thank you. Nur Harris Effendi, that person reviewed us on July 9th. Huge thank you. Ana Paula Clatao Leite, thank you so much. And Parastu Beirami on June 9th. Aubrey, these reviews are amazing. I love
Yes.
reading them. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you to everyone who has reviewed the podcast. We read them. We love them. We're grateful. And it helps others find the show and sort of
Yes.
like a thank you note to us.
It's a little thank you note, right? If you want to send us a little note, it's the equivalent of a little love letter, right? We love
Absolutely.
those. Go ahead and leave us a review wherever you listen to the show, Spotify, Apple, iOS app, Android app, and we'll do our best to read your name aloud on the show. All right?
Awesome.
Good.
All right. So let's dive in here, right? If you are in this boat, or maybe you even feel like what you've been doing isn't really helping you progress. Maybe you've plateaued.
Yes.
Today's advice is really going to help motivate you to boost your fluency. I'm sure there will be some ideas here that can help with your language learning journey.
Yeah. So the first big tip, right, from us to you all is try to speak and listen consistently and regularly to English. Right, Aubrey?
Absolutely, right? And the consistency is really key here.
Yes.
And also you want to be choosing things that you love, that are engaging, that you look forward to, right? You want to
Exactly.
choose podcasts and audiobooks to listen to regularly that you look forward to listening to or reading. And then you want
Yes.
to summarize aloud anything you're listening to because you are looking for opportunities to continue speaking out loud. A lot of people slip into just reading
Right.
or listening in a second language, and they're not speaking aloud enough. And then that opportunity comes to have a conversation and you really struggle.
Right. This is why it would be great to get kind of a partner in that's listening, that's hooked on some kind of a series or a podcast series,
Absolutely.
true crime series. What we want to do when we go into our podcast deck or when we turn on Netflix, we don't want to say, I have to learn English now, so I'm going to consume something. We want to say, I want to know what happens next, or I want to hang out with these characters, right? That's what we're looking for in the shows that we choose.
Exactly, right? And that leads right into this next point, to seek out conversation, opportunities for conversation. So if you have a speaking partner, a friend that you can speak to in English, and you're both listening to the same podcast or maybe listening to the same audiobook, what a great way to have something to spark that conversation. This can be fellow learners or native speakers, anyone that you can chat with in English.
I love it. I love it. And then working eventually towards thinking in English and avoiding translating in your native language. So this is a big one. We've gotten this question in Open Conversation Club numerous times, and every time we kind of have the same answer. The thing to do here, Aubrey, is what? It's something totally in our control.
Absolutely, right? The best thing to do is to start narrating your daily routines or your feelings out loud. This trains your brain to think in English. You can do it silently throughout your day or out loud when you're alone. Just narrate whatever you're doing in English.
I know. And I love it because I feel like I narrate stuff anyways in my native language.
Right.
And so it's not a hard flip, in my opinion, to flip it into English, right? Your second language. And it doesn't mean you have to know how to say everything. You will discover what you need to learn, like the word for can opener. Maybe you don't know it, but it comes up in what you're saying. And so you then need to learn that, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And the more you're training your brain to think in that language, it is going to push you to be consistent with listening, reading. You'll stay excited about continuing in English.
Yeah, I love it. So pick, like, as Aubrey said, pick a 5-minute chunk of your day. I would suggest maybe in the morning when you know your routine is kind of similar, or choose different times, because then you do encounter different things you're going to be saying to yourself.
Absolutely.
Right? Love it. All right. What's the second tip?
All right, number 2 is to continue expanding your vocabulary. This is going to be a more proactive exercise, which is going to keep you from falling into that or hitting that plateau of not feeling like you're improving. So you do want to be reading regularly and consistently, finding books that you love, reading maybe the newspaper, magazine articles to continue learning new words in context.
Yep. And we definitely endorse, vocabulary apps, things like Duolingo, Babbel. These can reinforce our grammar, our pronunciation, our vocabulary skills. So we're kind of moving into a bit of an actively learning here. Right?
Yes, or the All Ears English app. If you're not using it yet, we pull keywords from each podcast episode. So it's a really easy way to track interesting new vocabulary on this podcast. So that's a great way to be adding new vocabulary every time you listen to one of our episodes.
And I think the caveat here is just don't try to think you need to learn every word that you hear that you don't know. This is a trap a lot of students fall into, Aubrey, right? Yep. Yeah. So then they spend the whole time looking it up in the dictionary. That becomes not fun anymore.
Exactly. And you end up with just long lists of vocabulary, none of which you're actually using, right? So yes, we say maybe 4 to 5 words for every 30 minutes that you're reading or listening to keep it manageable. And then those words you want to actually be using when you are writing and speaking in English.
You got it. And then the next piece is try to proactively learn idiomatic language. So that means phrasal verbs, idioms, be in situations, try to be physically in situations where idioms will come up, and then ask someone what they just said, what it meant. There's nothing wrong with asking a native speaker or a non-native speaker what something meant.
Absolutely. And this is really what keeps language learning fun. The idiomatic language is what makes a language fun and dynamic. So you want to be proactively using that and adding it to your conversations to sound more native and natural and just to have fun with the language.
Exactly. What's the third thing we can do, Aubrey?
All right. Third is to continue working on pronunciation and intonation.
Yes.
If you're studying for IELTS or TOEFL, you're doing this very proactively. You want to keep doing it as you focus on general fluency. So you can listen to and shadow or mimic native speakers. You want to pay attention to how they pronounce words, the word stress, syllable stress, and their intonation. And you can mimic just 10 seconds at a time to practice that.
Oh, little chunks of practice, 10 seconds, 20 seconds are perfect. You can go back in this episode. I don't think we'll have a role play today, but almost every episode we do. And you could use our role plays and go ahead and mimic what we're saying and how we're saying it. Right?
That's a great idea, to use the role play at the end of most episodes to mimic and practice that intonation. And you can also get feedback either from your speaking partner, from a teacher, because often the pronunciation errors you're making, you're not hearing them, you're not noticing them, so you might not know what to focus on. This is one thing I work a lot with our students on. When I'm giving feedback, they're asking about specific pronunciation so that they know where to focus.
I love that. Another option is to add AI feedback as a supplement. It doesn't replace help from a teacher, but it's a supplement. And lately this summer, we've added AI pronunciation feedback to a lot of our courses, and it will be in more in the fall, Aubrey. Are you excited about that?
Yes, this is amazing.
Yes.
AI is getting better and better. It's a great way to get feedback on your pronunciation. So I love that we're adding this to courses. It's really building out how much you can practice and giving you a chance to know what about your pronunciation to focus on.
Totally, because you can use the tool when you're in our course as many times as you want on the same phrase, right? You get a score on each phoneme, each sound. Do it again, do it again, do it again as many times as you want. I love that.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right, Aubrey, what would be the fourth recommendation here for our listeners?
Luckily, for those of you who are learning English, you have such a wealth of resources. You want to make use of everything available to you, right? So there are websites and platforms that have, grammar tutorials. There are ESL blogs, YouTube accounts. There's so much. You can find any YouTube channel that interests you so that you can really find something that's engaging and interesting for you, whatever it is that you're interested in.
Yeah. And we already kind of said this, but watching TV shows, podcasts, whatever's out there, take it in, make a choice and use it. Right, Aubrey?
Exactly, right? This is a little harder for me in French, you in Arabic. They're at least what we're able to access. It's not such a wealth of resources, but take advantage of everything that's out there.
And then make sure to set goals. That's important to, at the beginning of setting up a learning plan for yourself, you need to say why. Why is so important. What is your why for learning? And go beyond just, I want to be fluent. What does that mean to you to be fluent? Is that connection? Is that achievement? Is that a salary raise? Right?
Exactly. And you want these to be realistic goals that are achievable so that you feel like, it's within your reach, this next benchmark that you've set for yourself, because it is easy to lose motivation and stop trying if you feel like something isn't achievable. So make sure those goals feel reachable.
Yes, exactly. But inevitably, let's see, I had a great quote this week when I interviewed someone for our professional English level 2 course. He's a project manager, and I was talking to him about project management, and he said, no project plan ever holds up to reality. I mean, it never happens, right? So reality gets in the way. The kids have to go to soccer. You have to stay and work late. There's a traffic jam. So give yourself some grace. I love this expression, Aubrey. We've done an episode on this. Michelle and I did. What does it mean?
Yes, right? It means to be flexible, to not beat yourself up. We can't expect things to always go according to plan, right? I love that quote. We know that things won't always move as quickly as we want. We might not reach a goal as fast as we want. So we need to recognize that progress might be slower than we'd like and be patient with ourselves.
So what that looks like, and what we always encourage when we come to Open Conversation Club and we check in with our students in the hot seat, often, we fall off. We fall off the wagon a little bit, right? We're not able to do our course one given week. The next week, it's about, do you come back to it the next week? Or do you say, oh no, I wasn't able to do it last week, so I won't do it this week. That's where we lose, right? We come back.
Exactly, right? So we can forgive ourselves for any little hiccups, get right back on the wagon, and then do everything we can to stay consistent with our progress, with everything we're working on. Recognize it won't always be perfect. If we can just spend a few minutes each day, that consistent practice will really make a difference in the long run.
Yeah, and we want to remind our listeners, guys, follow the IELTS Energy podcast. This is where this quote from this student came from. And there's a great episode to check out right away because we can learn more than just about IELTS over on that podcast, right?
Yes, exactly right. Episode 1514 was Band 9 Idioms for IELTS Speaking Part 2. So many of the episodes over there, whether you're studying for IELTS or not, you're going to learn so much interesting vocabulary. So definitely check it out, especially if you're preparing for the IELTS exam. It's a very fun podcast.
Yeah. And as a takeaway, you've completed your trip, right? Maybe you went to New York, you prepared your English for New York, and now you're home. You've passed IELTS, you passed TOEFL, or there was some big exam. You're over the hump. It's over. What do you do now? This is the time to set up the plan, right? This is where the momentum is still there.
Exactly, right? Continue to build fluency. Set, achievable goals that you can reach. And if you really need like a trip, imagine that trip sometime in the future, if it's not set now, to give yourself that motivation, that goal to keep building fluency.
Yeah. And you could take it even one step further and have some fun. You could ask ChatGPT to plan the trip for you. I actually did that. I asked ChatGPT to plan a trip where I would be traveling in India, but working remotely and visiting meditation sites around India. They came up with an amazing plan. It was I almost booked the trip, seriously.
That is a great idea. I might need to have AI book a trip for me and then just go no matter what.
I know. Then just book, right?
Just book it.
So anyways, just if whatever you need to do to envision, it's kind of like vision boarding and you put it right in front of you. There's a reason. That is the why. Okay.
Absolutely. Right.
So
you don't want all of your hard work to go to waste if you passed IELTS or TOEFL or did a ton of studying, right? There's so many reasons to keep building fluency.
I love it. Good stuff, Aubrey. We'll see you very soon. And don't forget, guys, leave us a rating and review wherever you listen. All right.
Awesome. Thanks, Lindsay.
Right. Talk soon. Bye.
Bye.